come.
That day will come. I hope you're right.
Will come.
God bless you.
Thank you very much.
Oh, well, it's
nice
good
to
see
talk
you.
to you.
Well, indeed. Liam Fitzsimmons from the Newry Veterinary Centre, our resident animal doc. You were just talking about the programme and about the demands of coming in at 5 in the morning to do it. It's a bit like being a vet. You dedicate your life to doing it. And I've always been doing it. So
yeah. It's a vocation.
It was meant to be. Now, the awful thing that strikes me at times, Liam, is if I wasn't doing this, what in God's name could I do? There's very little else. I could probably sell cabbage in the market, okay, and that would be about it. That would be about it.
Yeah, I could join you as well if I changed my career.
Yeah. How are you?
Not too bad at all.
What sort of Christmas and New Year has it been?
It's been a very busy Christmas. Unfortunately, we don't get much time off. The office has to be kept open for farm and small animal. And it was extremely busy over Christmas. The usual stories about dogs robbing boxes of biscuits, boxes of chocolates, breaking into the bin and eating the turkey carcass.
Can this be enough to occasion a death sentence for a dog? The people don't want it or give it away, get rid of it. Dogs that come maybe as a gift.
After Christmas, there's a lot of dogs thrown out in the street. I think Cross Cannon there were saying, was it Cross Cannon or Assisi, said that they had 100 or 150 dogs thrown out after Christmas.
Do people actually throw them out?
Put them on the street.
Is there no sense
Or surrender them. Bring them to the kennels and surrender them is the other option. But
to throw them out is unconscionable.
Yeah.
It's not the thing to be doing.
The only thing is the pups still have that awe factor.
Yeah.
It'll be another month or two before the people start really getting fed up with their dogs.
It's so very, very sad because I think there is a fundamental in dog ownership. There is a principle of responsibility.
Or there should be.
Attached to you. And sometimes that, as you well know, that can be very, very painful for a person, for all kinds of, if a dog has to go. Tough. Maybe easy. For some people, they're not prepared to go down the road of the toughness of doing the right thing about the dog. They'll just throw it out so that's the end of it.
But I can't understand the mentality of people that do that.
No.
If a dog worships you, no matter what you do to the dog, it'll still worship the ground you walk on.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
What is it that does it? It's an amazing facility. These creatures, these dogs, they were designed by whatever maker there is to be with us in the cave.
Yeah.
And to be our companion and to be our hunter for us to put food on the table.
And guardian.
And guardian as well. Yeah.
They would put their life up. They would risk their life for you.
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah. The thing about the after Christmas business with dogs, people then, there are dog people and there are people who are not dog people. And there's some people just should not under any circumstance have dogs.
That's true. That was one of the things when the USPCA moved to the Carnbean Industrial Park. All their rehoming is now done via the internet, as opposed to walking into a doggy jail and say, I'll take this one.
I like that.
Well, you have to give it a bit of thought.
Yeah.
And you have to plan, which is a good idea.
Yeah.
First, too easy to walk into some shelters and just say, I'll take that one.
Aye.
And you walk out through the door with a new dog, and there's no thought, there's no preparation.
Yeah.
Goes into it.
Are there dogs that families simply should not have?
There are the band dogs, the pit bulls and those types. Well, you can still have them here, and now if you get insurance, license and neutering, you can have a pit bull. It's how you keep them. I don't think there's any dog that a family should not have, but you should be fully aware of what your dog's capable of. Any dog should never be left alone with a child, even a Jack Russell.
I think it's worth saying that again. No dog should be left alone with a child.
Yeah.
Because there have been occasions when the dog thought it was playing with the child.
That's it.
Occasioned awful damage. There was a case in England, was there not?
There was a case in England, one of the pit bull cases, one New Year's Eve, where a dog killed, I think she was 3 or 4 years old, and they couldn't understand why there were whip marks against the walls of blood, and it turned out that the dog had actually wagged his tail through the whole attack. It hadn't seen the child in 3 months or so, and it was so delighted to see the dog, or the child that was playing with it, or playing in his terms. And he actually killed the wee girl.
it has that propensity to the pit bull to go from being totally placid to go over the wall and go mad in the twinkling of an eye.
Their aggression is akin to that of sharks. They show no signs of attack. They don't growl. They don't raise the hackles on their back. They just pounce. Primeval aggression. It's just instead of advancing in evolution, they've taken a step back for some reason.
And is the pit bull the only dog that you see that in?
By and large, yes. There are a few of the rare breeds that I think it's the Dogo Argentino, and a few of the other band breeds can also be like that. But by and large, yeah, most dogs will show signs that they're going to attack, but the pit bull just has this.
So people will tell you it's not the dog, it's the owner. If the dog is treated properly, my pit bull is a good pit bull because I look after him and treat him right. That's nonsense then.
This is where the legislation has, in the past, been maybe at fault, in that the dog was judged on breed and not deed. Pit bulls, by and large, are fantastic dogs. They are very, very friendly, very trustworthy. The problem is you never know when they're going to turn. And people will say their dog's 100%, and all of them are 100% until they do something.
Until the moment.
Yeah. And they're unpredictable, and that's the problem.
Yeah, yeah. Did we have a large incidents over Christmas of people dumping pets and people abusing pets?
Dumping pets, yes. Abusing pets, it's probably ongoing all the year round. There'll be no higher at Christmas than it would be any other time of the year.
But people in our area actually dumped dogs and other pets this Christmas.
Yes.
In this area.
Mm-hmm.
How many?
I can't give you the exact figures, but
Ballpark.
There was maybe 15, 20 dogs a week going into the pound. It's funny, I was talking to a Scottish girl who's an animal care assistant, and she couldn't believe in the south how many dogs were wandering the streets. And she was asking me, was it the same up here? And it's exactly the same up here.
Just one.
I think in England people are, I'm not saying better pet owners or Scotland. The dog wardens the law is probably enforced more. Here people often let their dogs out and the dog just runs the streets. We had an incident quite recently where there was a stray dog in Dunn Stores, a collie dog.
My goodness.
Maybe people have seen him about. And the security guard in Dunn feeds this dog every morning. So it was assumed that the dog was a stray, and he was extremely nervous, wouldn't come to them. So one of our clients one morning decided she was going to catch the dog and rescue him. Caught the dog, and in the process of catching the dog, she was bitten.
Oh, goodness.
It happened. She's a very, very good lady when it comes to strays and waifs. Brought the dog in. The dog was scanned, had a microchip. Contacted the owner. Owner lets the dog out every morning. The dog disappears for half an hour and then comes back again.
And he goes
He's going to Dunn's to get his breakfast. Who would blame him?
Who would blame him indeed?
But you know, that was just...
But I've seen, you mentioned Dublin there. I've seen folk in Dublin who are very, very, very poor. In fact, they're homeless. They're on the
begging
streets.
with their dogs.
They beg with the dogs, but similarly, when they come to be fed in the centres, they have a second bag with them, and the bag is for the dog.
Yeah.
So anything left over from the collection of food goes to the dog.
It's actually the same here with the food bank in the town.
Yeah, they're
giving out dog food as well.
You mentioned we talked about dog wardens and dogs being taken into custody, so to speak. What's the fate of a dog that's picked up by the council dog warden? How long will that dog be allowed to live, and at what point will it be put to sleep?
The dogs, by law, have to be kept for 5 days in order for the owner to get a chance to reclaim. The problem is, with a lot of the dogs that are lifted, they're not wanted. So the owner's never going to come forward for them. A lot of the dogs now go for rehoming, thankfully. And a lot of the dogs that can't be rehomed in Northern Ireland are now going to England.
And they'll rehome them there.
They'll rehome them. I'm not saying there's a shortage of dogs in England, but they're able to swallow up the glut here.
Yeah, they have a propensity, the English, of loving animals. They seem to... I saw it in Gibraltar, where the little women would gather with their cans of food for the cats of an evening.
Yeah.
And you'd have maybe 100 cats gathering, you know. And that seems to go on.
Rome would be the same.
Would it really? Yeah. Yeah. You mentioned a moment ago microchipping.
Yes.
What's the technology there? What's the process of microchipping, and how does it all work?
Implantation of a grain of rice, or a transponder the size of a grain of rice. It is a 12-digit number and is specifically registered to your dog. However, if you sell your dog or give your dog away, there is no obligation on you or the new owner to register the chip in his or her name. It was brought out by the councils to basically decrease straying, but it falls down on that principle: I sold my dog, I give my dog away. So you're not actually responsible for your microchip or your dog.
Yeah, yeah. How long has that been going on now, the microchip?
Probably about 2 years.
2 years, yeah.
But I would say if it was 60% uptake, it's probably the height of it.
Yeah. Now, microchipping, buying a license goes along with microchipping.
Yes, you need your dog microchipped in order to get a license.
What does the dog owner get from the council for the license money?
It is more of what does the council get from the dog owner. It's basically a tracking device. It means that your dog it's registered. If it strays, the tag on your dog is automatically traced back to you, so you'll get your dog back.
Yeah.
But there again, I'm not sure what percentage of dogs in any council are actually licensed.
Yeah, of course. It used to be the case one never licensed a dog because there was an illogicality in it. Because why should I give you money? It's my dog. I feed it. I love it. I care for it. I take it walks. I clean up after it. All the rest of it. Well, go away. That used to be the way.
So one man said to me once, "What's a dog license and what's a TV license?"
But nowadays, people can be caught very, very easily.
You can be caught. And if you're walking your dog, the dog warden has the right to ask you for the license.
For the license,
Yeah.
indeed.
Or is the dog licensed?
Yeah. What about the business of defecation on the footpaths of the land? Is there a take up much on the responsible dog ownership?
There is actually. If you look, most people now carry plastic bags.
They do. I've
Yeah.
seen this. I've seen this.
And if you haven't a plastic bag with you, I think you can actually be fined.
You must have a plastic bag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're walking your dog. It's a great idea. For dog feces, there's a worm in dog feces called Toxocara,
Yes.
and it can cause blindness in children.
Yeah. So it's the responsible thing.
It's the responsible thing to do.
I remember my colleague on the
And to
program.
worm your dog every 4 months. That's
Every 4.
also-
Yeah. I remember my colleague on the program here, Sarah, who does some of the broadcasting, but who is consummately wonderful in engaging guests to come in. She's got a way of bringing people in. It's like the Pied Piper getting folk in. But Sarah castigated one fellow who was out with his dog once and said he was obviously not going to clean up after the dog. Well, she told me what he didn't give her.
A mouthful.
He gave her a mouthful and what you could do and couldn't do. So poor Sarah just looked and, don't know whatever there. So the larger animals coming into your... Oh, before we leave dogs, what about the preference for food? You see dry food and you see wet food. What should one be feeding the dog? Or indeed should one half the chicken or quarter the chicken that you cook? Should the dog be eating what you eat, the leftovers?
Dogs are omnivores. Technically, they can eat everything and anything. Chicken and ham, which a lot of dogs get, is not suffice for a healthy appetite or a healthy diet for any dog. Dog foods are specifically balanced for the dog's needs and requirements. The canned food, the food manufacturers in their wisdom know to add salt. So 80% of a can is water. Water's cheap.
80% is water.
So you have a high salt diet, which is bad for your dog as well as for us. High fat diet also, for it's very palatable. Yeah. That's why dogs love canned food. The dry food is about 8% moisture or 8% water. So only 8p out of a 10, 8p out of 10p or 8p out of a pound is water. Better for your dog, better for your pocket, better for your dog's teeth. So I would
Should
say
be
dry food every time.
Dried food every time. That's
Cats need cat food. Dogs can be fed anything.
Yeah.
But cats need cat food. Cats still need cat food or fresh meat. They are deficient in an amino acid called taurine, which has to be either added to the food or else in fresh meat.
It's often been said, it's probably apocryphal as a story, that if a person's living alone with a cat and a person's living alone with a dog, say, that if the person, through some awful circumstance of health, passes away, that the dog will sit there beside the remains and beside the person, but the cat will probably end up eating what's left.
Dogs can eat as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had a couple of cases now of, I suppose the dog had to, it was starving.
Aye.
So it hadn't any option. But dogs are very, very loyal and they will sit by.
Yeah, that's what I've heard before. There's the great, it's the most lovely story told in Welsh mythology. It's the story of Gellert, the spaniel, a Welsh dog, and the king came to see his child in the cot in the morning, and saw the child dead, and saw the dog covered in blood, and he immediately took his sword to the dog and put the dog down. Boom, the dog was gone. But it was only out when he went outside he discovered the wolf had been coming.
And slam.
And the dog had been protecting the child. So I remember the first dog ever. I don't know why we called it Gellert in Mary Street, but it was called Gellert. The hunting instinct in the dog is wonderful. Because you see, fellas, I'm told that a greyhound is a wonderful pet, a sort of retired greyhound.
Retired greyhounds. Unfortunately, there's not enough of them.
Really?
And people don't take them for some reason. But they are hunters, and they will chase cats, they'll chase small furries too. So.
Yeah.
And small dogs.
Yeah.
So you need to be careful. That instinct is in them.
Yes.
But they're very gentle animals and very sensitive animals. Greyhounds, by and large.
And what about, is a lurcher the same as a greyhound?
Lurcher, all the hounds would be the same. Wolfhound, greyhound.
And it comes naturally to them, which brings us back to our cave origins. Because I've seen people out with dogs and letting them off the leash for the rabbits that come out of the hole, where the ferret drives the rabbit and the dog's after the rabbit. And then people take it and get the rabbit and bring it home and cook it.
That's it. Or used to cook it.
Would they not do it now so much?
There's not many Irish would touch a rabbit.
Really? Aye.
For some reason.
I used to find it wonderful roasted with mustard on it, on a bed of, on a ewe of cider.
Right.
Wow, that was something special. That was always good. Those were in my younger days, dear boy.
I think myxomatosis put a lot of people off rabbits.
Aye, it did. There's not as much of that now, is there?
It comes and goes.
Yeah.
They're becoming immune to it, but it is still about, you'll see the odd rabbit with myxo.
Yeah. So the day ahead at your wonderful practice on Patrick Street in Newry, what does it hold for you?
Consults 9 to 11, surgeries from 11 to 3, and then back into consults.
I just am thinking, pit bulls. I saw, and I must tell people, I saw a pit bull running loose with one or two other dogs out in Ashgrove Park recently. Running around loose, couldn't believe it.
It is, and there are still quite a few attacks. I know a lady had a dog attacked in Derrimore by a pit bull. Yeah. Off the lead.
Yeah. Well, this pit bull was totally off the lead. He came up to me with the tail wagging, just looking up.
But by and large, they're friendly
the
dogs.
Head
but
was like
very well developed muscles.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's theatre this afternoon. Which do you prefer, the consultations or the surgery?
Takes both to keep you sane.
It does. How long has the centre been going there?
2000.
2000.
Yeah, we opened.
Well, goodness gracious, 14 years now.
Yeah.
Isn't that wonderful?
Tick.
And did you come straight to it from college, or were you somewhere else?
No, I've done the rounds. I worked in Lurgan, I worked in Newry, I worked in Dromore, I worked in Dublin.
Really?
Armagh, and back here.
Well, I think you're a very wise man to come back to Newry. Because, the exception maybe of Dublin would have.
Swords was nice.
Swords, yeah, really. Yeah. Quiet sort of place, yeah.
Quiet place, and also you have the city on your doorstep.
Yeah. Do people, when they purchase a dog, do they tend to gravitate towards a dog that in some way resembles them, either physically. You know, you see the woman with the wee dog looking, and the woman's a wee woman looking. You know, is there that?
There is that.
Subconsciously.
Sometimes you can actually, if you look at the owner and the dog, you have to bite your tongue and say nothing.
Liam, we're going to play you some music now. Sean, what will we play, Liam? Will we? We'll go for Lionel. We'll take you into the world of romance, and Lionel Richie is singing "Lady." We'll bring that for you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ron.
Go well. God bless you. Have a good day.